It is Nemesis September once again, and what better way to kick off Nemesis September 2025 than with two of the least interesting things that are Nemesis Prime related that I own. Or I guess depending on how you want to look at it, maybe the most interesting? What we have here is the Culture Fly Transformers Meltz Nemesis Prime. It's exactly what it looks like. And Modes Nemesis Prime. Because I just gotta have all these Nemesis Primes. Admittedly, this not a transforming figure per se, or a figure at all per se, but first of all, look at this thing. It's just kind of fun and interesting, but also it just kind of works as a really fun and goofy little signpost for the Nemesis Prime shelf. So that's why I have it, and I'm glad to have it. So let's say we kick things off by looking at the one thing here that's the closest to an actual Transformer. We will start with Modes Nemesis Prime. Incidentally, wanted to mention this in the intro, completely forgot. I'm going back to my older non-scripted format for the duration of Nemesis September, purely because, one, I just never took the time to script anything for Nemesis September in advance, and I just kind of ran out of time. And two, I don't know, I think it kind of makes sense to keep Nemesis September just a little bit different format-wise from the rest of the stuff on the channel, or the rest of the stuff going forward on the channel. Scripted videos will be back, though, once Nemesis September is over. Whether or not that's actually during the month of September or moving on into October, I don't entirely know yet. It depends on how many Nemesis Primes I end up with by the end of the month. Because right now, I don't have enough to fill the month, but I have a couple that are pre-ordered, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, Modes Nemesis Prime it's just like a little blind box or blind bag thing that you can get. Like, that's what Modes are. For anyone who doesn't know, they're just little like, goofy little toy things. He does actually have rolling wheels on the bottom here, which is kind of funny. And he rolls surprisingly well. You can fold that down, and he does actually roll. I mean, the giant head kind of gets in the way, but he does roll. And it's just a cute little Nemesis Prime. He's got a giant Optimus Prime head done in black with red eyes. And then he's got just the entire alt mode for a lower body. And it is goofy. And I also kind of love it. Now, as you saw, the Decepticon logo up top here, it's on a little hinge, so you can fold it down, which is good. This is typically how I have this guy displayed, because I just think it looks a little bit cleaner. But you could have it up there like a little flag. It's just a goofy little thing. I love this. The molding is actually pretty good for what it is. They've got little divots in the sides of the mouth plate. It's got the vents. And the paint that's on here is actually not bad for what this is, considering the fact that this little truck is a very little truck. That's a lot of silver paint in there, and they even did the windows in red. I really like that. And that's kind of all there is to this. They even have the little feet molded in the back there. So, yeah, let's transform him into his alt mode. So we're going to flip this up for the sake of just being easier to grip it this way. Hold the sides of the head and tug up. And there we go. That is Nemesis Prime, Modes Nemesis Prime in his robot mode. I defy you to tell me this isn't cute. Or even absolutely adorable. He kinda can stand in this mode, kind of. I've gotten him to do it before. He doesn't seem to... Oh, there we go. So he is standing, but he's not really meant to. So if I do any kind of... Okay, make me a liar. There we go. Okay, so he's more stable than I expected. But he's really not meant to stand like this, because you can see, like, his legs and upper body don't really lock in. They just kind of flop there, because the whole point is the transformation. You just pull up and it all sucks into the body. But it's a neat little thing. I like this gimmick. It's very cool. And the way it works, if I do it slowly, just as you pull up, you can kind of see the faceplate comes up, the truck that's inside the body now rotates around, and the little body comes down. And I don't know, this is just a cute little thing. I don't want to collect alt modes, but I am happy to have there we go. Now he's doing the thing I thought he was going to do before. But I am glad to have a Nemesis Prime. And you can see, again, like the body is pretty decently detailed. I appreciate that they did the silver paint and then they got the red windows, but it does seem like they went a little bit too hard on the silver. Like the entire midsection below the chest and the thighs, it's entirely silver. The forearms are entirely silver. It's wrong, but considering, again, the fact that this thing is quite tiny, it's like we'll bring Armada Nemesis Prime in for a sec just to show you, because we'll get back to him. I have him for a reason, but here you can see just how small this guy is. He's smaller. The body is smaller than Runover. I don't mind that the detailing on this isn't perfect, especially considering this is supposed to be a simple blind bag toy thing, but it would have been nice if maybe they didn't paint the entire midsection silver, but still. This thing is just kind of fun to flip around. I think it's a fun little accent to have on the Nemesis Prime shelf. And now we can look at Meltz Nemesis Prime. And this, as I said before, it's what it looks like. It is a vinyl figurine, if you want to call it that, of an ice cream bar made to look like Nemesis Prime with a bite out of it. There is nothing else to this. It does not transform. It doesn't pose. But it's kind of, I don't know, I think it's really fun for what it is. And again, it is vinyl. This thing is hollow. You can kind of see it squish in a little bit. This piece, the stick, feels much more solid. And then you also have the ice cream base, which these bases, as far as I can tell, are the same for all of the Meltz, at least the Transformers Meltz, but done in colors that are more in line with the character that they're supposed to represent. And as you can see, there's this little rectangular bit down there. You just stick the popsicle stick in there, and there is your display base, and you can lean it to the side, which I appreciate. And another thing you can do is, these are designed to do this. You can basically just jam the head into the display base, the opening on the display base, and have it like the ice cream bar is on the ground melting. I prefer to just do this, at least for Nemesis here, but I still think it's fun that you've got some options for display. Now, the texturing on the popsicle stick is actually pretty decent. It's definitely thicker than a popsicle stick would actually be, but, it's supposed to be a display piece, not something you actually eat. They got that wooden texturing on there, which looks good. It's a nice color. They have a little not engraved, it's molded, but the little Decepticon logo in there with some wonky eyes, but still it's in there. And then we have Nemesis himself. And this is just this fun little pseudo-chibi style depiction of Optimus Prime's head in black and white and red with a bite out of the side. And I don't know, it's simple, but it's cute. I really like it. I do kind of think it'd be cool if they had done a little bit more with the face here, like the black and white. It's the white. I feel like if this was silver, it might be a little bit cooler, but at the same time, I do understand that this is meant to represent an ice cream bar. And I do think it makes more sense to have Nemesis Prime's face and head crest be white to indicate, maybe vanilla ice cream or something like that, than to make it silver, because I don't really think they make silver ice cream, and if they did, I certainly wouldn't want to eat it. But as a Transformers display thing, I do think silver would have been kind of cool. But they got all the right details. You don't really have anything on the sides or the back, but again, it's supposed to be an ice cream bar. But you do have the head crest, which is simplified. You don't have the venting detail or anything like that, but it's there. And you got the mouth plate, you got this little nose ridge in there, and you've got the makings in relief sculpture of his horns and, the sides of his helmet and stuff like that. And you've got the eyes, which they're both the right shape and the wrong shape, because you can see he's got that sort of stretched out hexagonal eye shape, which is common for G1 styled Optimus Primes or Nemesis Primes. but he also has these little bumps made to look like, candies or something, possibly gum. It's been so long since I've had an ice cream bar. I don't know, but they've got these bumps here to indicate that, and I just think this is a fun little idea. Again, it doesn't do anything. It's just a display piece, and I'm not, just like the alt modes, I am not interested in collecting any more of these. I did have a few briefly because Diana was at New York Comic Con back in 2024 and actually got me a 3-pack. That was like a con exclusive that had Starscream, Megatron, and Shockwave. They were metallic too, which was neat. But it's just the Nemesis Prime that I really wanted. Unfortunately, I was able to get a hold of one via eBay for probably more than this thing would have sold individually, but not like a absurd amount. I think it was like $20, which, for what this is, it's kind of ridiculous to pay that much. But I just I thought it'd be a really fun little signpost for my Nemesis Prime shelf, and it is. So I was happy to pay that. I would not pay it again for any other Meltz, but I'm glad to have this one. Now, to finish up this ramshackle video, I want to talk about Armada Nemesis Prime again. And this is Armada Nemesis Prime. This is not the new one that they announced for, was it Age of the Primes or something like that? The one that looks entirely too blue, but I'm still going to get it because it's Nemesis Prime, and also the mold is great. But anyway, this is the original Armada Nemesis Prime, or Nemesis Prime from the Armada mold. And I just wanted to go over one thing that I missed when I did the video on this guy back in whatever year it was. I'm not going to look it up right now. And that is, when I was commenting on this guy's articulation, I mentioned that I was disappointed that he only had pseudo thigh swivels by using ball joints in his hips. Which, they're effective enough, but it was a little bit of a disappointment to not be able to fully swivel his thighs. Some of you probably know where this is going. A lot of you can probably tell where this is going. But yes, I was mistaken. I never realized this until just a few months ago, honestly. So halfway through 2025. I finally realized that this figure does have thigh swivels, or more specifically, above the knee swivels. They're very stiff, but they're there. If you look, you can see, we'll just bend the knee so you can see it more pronounced. But, you've got the thigh, you can use the ball joint to rotate the hip, and it works well enough. But right above the knee, it's where it's connected to that block, you can actually rotate the whole thing around. This entire time, Armada Nemesis Prime, and by extension I assume Bendy Prime, have had thigh swivels, and I just never realized it. But yeah, honest to goodness thigh swivels. Which, yes, technically the thigh's not swiveling, but I count above the knee swivels as thigh swivels. Because it gets the same effect as a proper thigh swivel. That's super cool, and I kind of wish I'd known that sooner, but I'm glad I know it now. This is still a very cool figure. He's impressed me even more because I now know that he has thigh swivels. Take that, RID 2001 Scourge. Though, if RID Scourge is hiding thigh swivels, someone please tell me, because that's like the one thing about that figure I don't like. So, if he magically does have thigh swivels that I just don't know about, I would be ecstatic to find out. But anyway, that is going to do it. It's just a quick one. Don't want to bother everybody with a whole bunch of weirdness right out of the gate. So there we have September 2025. Off to a decent start, I think. At least not a terrible start, I hope. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And feel free to come back next week, next video, whenever it's going to be, for another Nemesis Prime.